Good morning and welcome to the town meeting program. This is Friday, the 27th of May, and something that you don't always see in Cordova is a person dressed in orange and purple, roller skiing, perhaps with an air rifle strapped to the back, on the various ups and downs, hither and yon. And so we thought, you might want to know what's going on with that. What is this guy doing? So we're going to introduce him to you. His name is Justin Hansen, who is cross-training here in Cordova in biathlon and also fishing, not only for the experience of seeing what commercial fishing is like here, but also using it as part of the strength training regimen, I guess. And he's training for a national competition. So we're just going to visit with him and find out what it's all about. Courtesy of Cordova Wireless Communications, which brings you the Town Meeting Talk Show, your local talk show, brought to you by your local provider of cell phone and wireless data services. What a partnership. Not a real long conversation. I think it was only 10 minutes or so, but it's a fun one. It's interesting. And we invite you to stay tuned for it. The Town Meeting Talk Show with Justin Hansen, National Biathlete, on KLAM. So, Justin, to start out, anybody that has watched Winter Olympics, is probably at least peripherally familiar with what biathlon is. But in case we've got anybody that is not familiar, has maybe never heard of it, kind of explain the sport that you're training for.
So, biathlon is really a competition of skiing and shooting. Right, each biathlon race we do, we're going to ski, we're going to shoot, and then we're going to ski again and finish, right? One of the biggest points in biathlon is that there's two targets. There's prone targets, which are the size of a golf ball at 50 meters, and there's standing targets, which are the size of a coffee cup at 50 meters as well. Those two positions and stages are done every single race, every single time. You get 5 shots and 5 bullets. The only time that changes is when it is a relay race. In that case, you get 3 extra bullets to cover for your partner.
Okay, and is it based off of, is it a sport that grew, say, out of military training, or what's sort of the background? How did these two aspects of skill get put together, if you know?
So what I've heard, the most part, is that they used to practice as a military sport, with skiing and shooting being a winter thing used in the German military and the Finnish military. And with World War II, that sport came along and became extremely popular in military units. And with the retirement of World War II and the kind of peacetime we had after that, the civilian marksmanship program really took that opportunity to make biathlon a sport for the civilian world.
So looking at it as a layperson, I would kind of guess that the challenge is to put yourself through the physical stress of all of the skiing and then being able to hold yourself steady in order to do the shooting?
Yeah, that's definitely two of the hardest things. But one of the most things that after you get past those initial, holding yourself together and shooting, is just being able to miss shots and to do a penalty loop and to continue on with the race. That can be one of the most devastating things, can be missing a shot and then knowing that you're going to be losing positions because of that missed shot.
Yeah, because that's right. When you do a bunch of skiing and then you take your shots, and if you miss, as you said, then you have to do some extra skiing, which is going to put you farther back in the race. And so you have to overcome the psychological impact of that. And, if you miss shot number 2 out of 5, you still got to make 3 more and not be all down on yourself and lose concentration.
Exactly. And then one of the things that happens, especially at Kincaid Park, or you even saw it at the Beijing Olympics, is that wind conditions can constantly change. And we have adjustments on our sites for that, but there's always a bit of gamble, always a bit of luck involved with hitting your 5 targets.
Okay. So how did you end up in this sport then?
So a guy by the name of Steve Wilson, he's the Western or the Alaskan coordinator. I ended up emailing him. He's over at the Nordic Skiing Association of Anchorage, Alaska Biathlon Association. I emailed him and I wanted to try it out in Anchorage at their range. I had skied by it quite a bit of times, and I kind of wondered what went on there. So on January 1st of 2021, I went over there and what I did is I just tried out on a practice day. We got me all trained up. We made sure we know which one the rifle was, all the parts were. And then after that, I got there, and then I had a race the next day, and it went really, really well. And it was something that just, as soon as I did it, I was hooked.
Yeah, so it just kind of clicked with you. So this isn't something that you've been doing for a super long time then, it doesn't sound like.
Oh, for sure. I haven't been doing skiing and shooting for a long time, but for skiing, that goes all the way back to middle school.
Yeah, okay. So this is, so biathlon was just adding another layer to it and being able to challenge yourself in a different way. So how did you end up in Cordova then? I mean, we aren't necessarily probably thought of as a global biathlon training extravaganza kind of place. So what brought you here?
Well, the first thing that brought me here is the great food. The Copper River Reds and the Copper River Kings are some of the best salmon in the world. And I was given the opportunity by Rob Nelson and with Dennis Zadra to come up here for openers. And one of the most difficult things to find in Soldotna is an actual good hilly gradual course. That does not exist for around 100 miles, I would say, where you can find a good gradual course that's located anywhere next to residential areas. But here in Cordova, gradual uphills, turns, all those things that I wouldn't get in Soldotna are here easy to find.
Okay, so it's you initially came here maybe for, I mean, did you come here to train, or did you discover that it might be a good place to train after arriving?
So I came here to train, and I also came here to fish at the same time. Me and Dennis really worked good to be able to make air rifle ranges and rifle range practice. But yeah, I've just been, as I've been racing and as I've been doing time trials, I've discovered that this is really the workout, this is really the terrain, if you will, that I need.
Good. Okay. And what are your hopes as far as, you know, as you do this training over the summer? What are you planning to do in terms of competition? Are you Olympics bound, or maybe not quite that far yet?
So right now, one of the biggest things is that during the Winter Nationals back in March, I had a really good performance with getting 10th place out of 11 for the youth men's competition. So that was a good one. However, our relay team, I was not able to hold it up, and we ended up getting last. So what this summer is really going to be is it's going to be training for the national competition at the Ethan Allen Biathlon Range down in Vermont. And I want to improve that speed, that time, that accuracy, so that I'm able to go above that 10th position in that youth men's category and go somewhere really good. And what these national competitions do is there's a point system with the United States Biathlon Association, and as you complete more national events, you add more points, and you're closer to being in the World Cup or even the Olympic category.
Good. All right. Well, I mean, it's certainly a good goal, and I'm wondering, well, now, how long did you show up in Cordova right around the start of the fishing season, or how long have you been here?
I showed up the day before the first opener, and we had a great opener on that first time there. It was really good. Me and Dennis caught some great fish, and it was just overall good time. But yeah, the day before the first opener. What
do you think of fishing, by the way? Had you ever done that before, or is this sort of your first exposure to that?
This is my first exposure with gill netting, and I like it. It's something really good, and just going there and grabbing a fish out of the net, I mean, it's not like anything else.
Yeah, and being out there, with that, I don't know. The one time that I went out with the Eckleys took us out one time to the flats, and I was amazed at, just kind of how monochrome everything sort of seemed. Of course, it was a great day, but, it's a remarkable environment, and it must really be something when there's lots of boats around you and everybody's busy. Was it pretty strenuous work for you?
Well, it actually wasn't. This first time out, it was really learning the ropes of everything and just making sure that I could do everything. I assume as soon as we get deeper into the season, we're getting more fish in the boat. I assume it's going to get harder, but right now on those first openers, it was not really that hard of work.
Do you consider it part of the training, if there's some physical activity in there, or is it really just, is the combining the fishing with the biathlon stuff, are those just two different aspects of being in Cordova for you?
Oh no, they are. It's a part of the training. That fishing, that pulling in the net, pulling in the anchor, all of that stuff builds the same muscles that you're going to be needing during a biathlon race, and it's definitely seen as a cross training.
Okay, well, What do you think of Cordova? I'm presuming this is one of the first times, if not the first time you've been here. What are your impressions of the town?
Well, it's a beautiful place. It's a very tight-knit community here, and there's so many people that I've been able to meet, and everyone has been extremely friendly, and it's a great place to live, and it's a beautiful place nearly every day.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us feel very much the same way. So, anything else you want to share as far as this whole thing, or have we sort of covered most of it?
Well, not much other than you'll be seeing me on the roads, roller skiing around. I'll be there in the purple orange of Kenai Biathlon. So, yeah, that's all I want to add.
All right. Well, I've enjoyed visiting with you, Justin, and thanks for getting in touch. It's fun, to have our show not always be about some political issue or some emergency or drama or whatever, and getting the perspective of folks that come to visit us, to hear what they have to say about the community, I always find very refreshing. So stay on the line so we can debrief a little bit, but for the purposes of the show, I want to thank you for giving us a time to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day, everyone.
And that's the story, folks. And that's the way it is, as Walter Cronkite used to say. Now, when you see the orange and purple roller skier going up this hill and down this hill and around this corner and whatever, you'll know somebody thought Cordova would be a great place to train for biathlon, while also enjoying the experience of and the physical benefits of commercial fishing. Justin Hansen, we certainly wish him well in what is, as he described, a fairly new endeavor for him, but one that he seems to be taking to. And this program was brought to you by Cordova Wireless Communications. Always delightful to have a very local business sponsoring a very local program, giving us the chance to talk about things going on in Cordova or that might be of interest to Cordovans. And if you ever, by the way, have an idea for somebody that you'd like us to talk to, or if you'd like to visit with us for one of these programs, it's very low pressure. We pre-record. It's real casual, no stress, and would be happy to field your ideas for how to make it the most interesting for you and the community. I always like to point out that in addition to providing all the services that they do, Cordova Wireless and Cordova Telephone Cooperative import a lot of dollars that we don't have to generate ourselves. They come here from outside, circulate around the community, and help our economy be healthier to the tune of $10 to $12 million a year at last count. So that's a big deal. And we really do enjoy having them be our partners in doing this. Incidentally, unless plans change, we have another talk show coming up Monday in this same hour with the Downtown Hope Center in Anchorage, which provides a lot of very valuable services, and not just for Anchorage people, but for folks from anywhere in the state that need to go there, helping to prevent homelessness, training people that need job skills to get on their feet, and they're fundraising for a new facility, and the prize is a very fancy Harley-Davidson motorcycle. They're having a raffle for that, so we'll tell you about that Monday when we visit with Savannah Henson of the Downtown Hope Center. But for now, we'll wrap up today's town meeting program and bring you all of your other 10 a.m. hour features. Thanks again to Cordova Wireless for the sponsorship. We'll see you next time.